So we're going to look at some really cool stuff today, and I'm happy of this, and happy because it's breaking new trail. And so this wasn't anything that was taught to us at the Summer Web Boot Camp. They didn't teach. This wasn't. We didn't learn this at Summer Web Boot Camp, and we didn't do this last semester. But I've just started playing around with the Photoblog application, and I kind of want to just build that continuously through all the iterations of using cookies, Memcache, data store, and eventually Google Cloud Storage, and then have that working in a robust way through App Engine. And so we're going to see that today. And then I'm also going to show you really cool HTML and CSS stuff that I'm liking, and just point out a few resources from my class over at City. For those of you who are interested in the front end, you could access that and use it as a template. And it's built as well as it can be built today by today's standards. And so a lot of code that you find out in the wild is not. And there's a variety of reasons it's not built to today's best standards. But this stuff here is, according to what I know. And I don't know everything. So the one thing I want to say is kind of like Rocky Balboa, just wanting to go the distance. And it's been kind of cool for me. Like, getting that license plate was kind of like just a whim. We were just all sitting around. We were talking about one evening, family, sitting around the living room, talking about customized license plates somehow or whatever. And then you could look them up online. And so I started looking up different ones online. And then just on a whim, I was like, hey, I'm going to buy that one. First, I wanted HTTP 200, but somebody had it. Status OK. I thought, that's cool. Everything's cool, right? But then I was like, whatever, I'm going to buy it. And then I got a note in the mail, hey, your license plate came in. It only cost $50. But the true cost of buying a customized license plate is having to go to the DMV. That sucks. But yesterday I picked up the license plate. But so the point is when I picked up the license plate yesterday, it's like, why was I doing this? I kind of reflected on that. Because I told my friend that, hey, I got a customized license plate. And the first thing my friend said was like, wow, that's really not like you. I wouldn't expect that from you. And I'm like, yeah, me either. I feel kind of conflicted about it. But I really like the sort of it's a sort of secret code to other geeks and nerds. And like other people who are into this stuff will be like, oh, cool, man. HTTP 301, that's a sweet plate, right? And I like that aspect about it. And so for me, that kind of made me also just sort of feel this affinity that I've developed for coding. And just really loving it. Like it's really fun to sort of sit down and start working with code and try to get the problem solved. And then, whoa, it's working. Cool. And to make something happen. And so that's kind of come to me later in life. When I was your guys' age, I could barely sit in a classroom. I just wanted to get up. I wanted to move. I wanted to surf. I wanted to run. I wanted to ride a bike. And I did really well in school because I come from that kind of a family. And the mafia, no ethics family that works really hard. So like when I was young, it wouldn't have taken for me. So it's been kind of cool now that I'm older in life to find a new passion and to really sort of like, whoa, I'm really digging this stuff. And that's just been the last 3 years of my life. And a year ago at this time, so I've shared with you before that there's no progress without sacrifice. In economics, we call this an opportunity cost. So even at the most fundamental level, if you're going to spend your time doing X, you're not going to spend your time doing Y. Right? If they're mutually exclusive, the opportunity cost of doing X is Y. You can't do Y. You're choosing to do X. Right? And so there is no progress without sacrifice. And so, some of that sacrifice might be some sleep deprivation. Some of that sacrifice might be I'm going to spend a little bit less time with family so I can spend more time on this other thing and work it forward. But there's no progress without sacrifice. And one of the sacrifices for me to really move the ball forward with this, and I'm proud of what I've done in Fresno and with the Go community. There's over 300,000 views on my YouTube page. I've taught over 4,500 students on Udemy how to use this language. Right? It's a new language. I think it's an awesome language. I'm proud of myself for identifying it and investigating it and saying, I really think this would be the best choice for students to learn, and bringing that to our community, which most of the time is backwards and 10 years behind the technical curve, getting people out in front of the technical curve, and seeing it actually start to pan out, right? Seeing articles online, like this one I assigned you to read, The Way of the Gopher, where Dig is switching from Node.js over to Go, right? And that just keeps happening. A lot of companies are like, Node, Python, Ruby, right? PHP, they're getting rid of it and they're going over to Go. And so, but to do that, it came at a sacrifice. And the first class to sit with me through this material did not get a quality experience. I give myself a really low grade for teaching that class because I was learning it too. And then over the summer, our teacher, Caleb Doxey, I think he wondered how the hell I ever got a job teaching computers. But it was like, yeah, I'm paying my dues, man. I'm learning it. But like that Rocky Balboa thing, it's like, I want to just go the distance. I'm not going to give up. I'm going to stay in the ring, and you could beat me and beat me and beat me, but I'm just going to keep getting back up. And, progress has sacrifice. It requires sacrifice. There are casualties to progress. And sometimes that's yourself taking blows to the ego. Didn't get some of the reviews from my first time through this class were not good. Going and having this guy teach me and just, feeling so humbled because it's like, wow, how's it taking me so long to wrap my head around these concepts, over the summer? Okay, and then over the fall, going back through everything I learned over the summer, watching those videos again, putting together, cleaning up the code samples, teaching the class again in the fall, it went pretty well. And I delivered quality content and material to people. Now this semester, I feel like it's getting even better, and you guys are getting the best code base to date, and it's being executed better than any other resource in the world for this language for learning web programming that I've come across, right? And so that to me is awesome. And Bill Gates said, if you want to be successful, you got to get in front of what's coming and let it hit you. And part of that is like when I get this code base built and put together training and then put that training for doing web programming with Go, that's going to be beneficial to other people, right? And so for me, all of that in just like 3 years when I first said, okay, to my employer, I'll get back into the programming stuff. I'm needed there, sure, let me do it, I'll do it. And I started watching videos late at night after my family went to bed on lynda.com and Pluralsight to re-educate myself how do you do web programming to today. I kind of feel like right on, and so picking up that license plate yesterday, I felt sort of like, you know what, I used to not be a member of this club. I used to not know what was going on with it, and I kind of looked at it from the outside and I wanted to be involved with it, but the price to get into it was really high. There's a big price to pay in terms of time to learn how to do all this, right? But I've paid a lot of that price, and I feel like I understand now a lot of the things that, if you want to build websites, these are the ways that you need to build them. And these are the reasons why. HTTP 2 versus HTTP 1.1, SVG vector graphics versus raster bitmap graphics in certain situations, and how do you work with rasters, to the back-end server-side programming and using Go to do it, and being able to build a stack which is scalable and accessible to people. So if demand for your service goes up, you're not going to be up the creek without a paddle. You'll be able to automatically scale. And so that's an amazing solution. And you guys are getting, in my opinion, an amazing skill set. And it's one that's cutting edge, and it's coming, and it continues to grow in popularity if you look at the metrics on it. And it's, for me, where you should be spending all your time. You should not work on any of your other classes. Just kidding. But anyhow, that's my Rocky Balboa speech, going the distance. So some cool stuff we're going to look at today. So the first thing I just want to show you is created this full-page background website. And so you can check out the code on it. But there's a bunch of SVG. Speak of the SVG, right? And so that's 100% full screen, the image, and you don't get scroll bars on the side no matter what size the screen is. I've got to find my little corner, right? No matter what size the screen is, you don't get scroll bars, except for when you go mobile. And then mobile, right, you saw the header change from media queries. And then mobile, when you scroll down, you have your nice buttons. And those buttons are always right beneath the fold, what you call beneath the fold, right beneath the breakpoint of the screen, right? And so you have those nice buttons down there. And that's without using any framework. That's just straight up, I know how to code HTML and CSS. There's no JavaScript in there. and that's all 100% semantic, and it's as performant as you can make it. So you only ask for the image size that's appropriate for your device. You'll notice, like, as you go between this image right there, you guys don't have good enough resolution to see the difference. You get better resolution right there, but it looks worse on that screen for whatever reason.
It is a projector.
It is a projector.
It's a projector
So-
using VGA at that.
So you can check out that code and learn all about SVG and getting fave icons, right? So how do you get a fave icon to show up nicely in your? These are fave icons. That little red car up there, which I think that would be a much better fave icon for Uber than they just have a black box. I don't know what that's about. You never know what you're getting from the black box when you order from them. Most of the time it's okay, but you might get into the black box with some crazy person. So, anybody have any questions or thoughts? No? Cool. All right, so let's learn some Go. Should I make this a second video? What do you think? From YouTube Experience has 11 minutes of Rocky Balboa. I think I'll just make that Rocky Balboa. And we'll start with the Go code in the next video.